Let's keep it rolling here at the Voice of College Football. We got Ryan Winter dropping by. Sports Chat 503. Ryan, what's going on?
What up? How you guys doing?
Doing just fine. Is that golf weather back behind you?
We're golf weather. I'm golfing tomorrow.
Okay.
It's always golf weather, Mark.
Okay. I thought so. Just checking.
The ground.
Just checking.
How we doing, fellas?
We're doing well. Don't know if you've you've been on with us on the USC channel with Tim Prangley. Very nice.
Absolutely. Tim, what up, my guy?
What's up, man? Yeah, any weather, Mark, is golf weather. It's just something's a little more challenging when you get that 30-mile gust from your right to left.
Right. You gotta layer up. You gotta get the vest going and the hoodie and the beanie.
That doesn't play with the swing?
Well, you gotta adjust. Golf's a creative game.
Okay.
just hit, Mark. You just gotta keep it low. When it's windy, you just gotta keep it low.
Gotta keep it low. Hey, it's just like football. You gotta play in tough weather, man. When USC goes out to Wisconsin, the Ducks are playing Wisconsin at the very end of the year, man. It's gonna get wild over there. That's West Coasters. We don't really know what's gonna happen at the end of the year with the Big Ten schedule.
You're gonna be in. So the Ducks are in Madison in November or December.
Yeah, the last week, there's a bye week before the Husky. The Husky game is now the last game of the year with rivalry week. And Wisconsin's the game right before I know. It'll be a rough one.
I'll tell you what, remember I said I'm going to Madison? I might not if it's at the last week of November, because not that I can't handle the cold weather, but I want to be able to enjoy the game if I'm going to go,
Facts. Yeah, I heard you say you want to go to Madison. So do I. I just don't want to go at the end of November.
Yeah, I was thinking like late September, mid-October. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Well, there's golf out there, too. I want to combo it, so.
Well, Ryan, it sounds like the whole Big Ten thing is sunk in to a certain extent. You kind of soaked it up.
Yeah, I'm all in. In football, I'm all in. At basketball, I'm still 1 foot in the Pac-12. Until we get through this Pac-12 conference championship game. Speaking of, your guys' SC, man, has been decimated by injuries. Too bad for you guys. You guys had a great squad coming in this year.
Yeah, it's been a rough run the last 5 weeks. They have 6 losses, but they losing that Collier, who's basically Mark should get mad for talking basketball. But actually,
no. March Madness, Mark. Everybody loves March Madness.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in March. When you guys are there and we're not, but when we're scraping a hoping bubble team for the NIT and you guys are like a 5 seed, we'll talk then.
Oh God, I hope we haven't made the turn in a couple of years. But wait, let's talk about football. I'm stoked for the Big Ten. Yes, I'm all in. I've already gone through and started looking at film of opponents. I'm looking at where to go, where to eat, what restaurants, what hotels, how to get around. It's crazy how to get around up in there. So, we're not necessarily from up there, Mark. This is a new thing for us.
Oh, I know it. Maybe we'll run into each other here at some point. That would be cool. I would and your head coach is in for it as well. So that was kind of cool in that, he was one of the favorites at the top of that Alabama list, and he put that to rest in a hurry and did it with some style.
Marketing and Nike and Oregon, they all kind of seem to go together sometimes, when the thing comes together the right way. There's a lot of really good people at Oregon on the creative team, and that night that Nick Saban left, of course, we all were on doing live streams. Everybody who had a YouTube channel was on talking about that stuff. It was a huge shocker. And immediately Lanning's name was on there. And I kept saying I didn't think he was going to go. But a lot of people were saying, hey, he needs to come out and say this right away. And all the media people were saying, hey, there's no media availability until we get to, spring football or whatever. So it's going to be like another month. And so you're right. They did the right thing. They came out with the video right away. The way they did it was great, where they talked about, because this has been an ongoing thing all year. He's referenced it numerous times. And so they kind of spliced all those different quotes together. They showed him shaking hands with all the different fans, of course, and I'm, of course, right in that mix because I go to road games. I see those guys. And I love Dan Lanning, man. I'm all in. So he's all in. We're all in. That's what we were scared of the most, was being a stepping stone. We were scared of guys not being committed and not being wanting to see the future. And we had a couple guys come and go, and then we obviously saw that same thing happen with Washington. So it's a terrible situation when the coach leaves. It's just, there's no way to shake, no two ways to shape it, man. It's just, it is what it is. Either the guy goes out on his own terms like Saban, and you got to fill the spot and it's still a question mark, or you're kicking the guy out. So it's a tough situation. We're stoked. We're stoked. It's all systems go. Everything's ready to rumble. The show goes on.
The thing with Oregon, different than Washington, is Washington basically lost everybody. The DeBoer knew he was losing everyone. Dan's been building this team that you guys are going to have this year. Again, I think it's going to be Ohio State and Oregon. It's going to be they're definitely the two most talented teams in the conference. They're going to be going head to head. And for Lanning to walk away from this team would have been pretty, I would think, for a coach after he took the time to build this team together and on both lines. I think, secondary, I think it's going to be a really fixed secondary. I think it's going to be a solid defense. I think that would be a lot for him to do. Granted, it's the Alabama job. And what went into that, who got called, etc., whatever the story was, I think that made it more difficult for a guy like Dan Lanning than it would be for a Kalen DeBoer to walk away.
I agree. And I think that's everything you said there is completely correct. Kalen DeBoer knew exactly what he had. There wasn't much coming back left, and he hadn't recruited that well. That wasn't necessarily his thing. And Dan Lanning is quite the opposite. Dan Lanning is, a really good recruiter, and we'll see how good of a game coach he is down the stretch. But he's definitely a great recruiter, and his transfer portal is absolutely on fire. Transfer portal is kind of weird, It's kind of like AAU basketball. I coached basketball for years, and you get these super teams in AAU, and all the guys want to play together, and the rich get richer and the poor get poorer fast in the transfer portal. And so it's exciting to be a fan of a team and a part of a team, through the fan base, alumni, whatever, that is wanted, that is a team that people want to be a part of. Because, if you look in the Big Ten right now, like you're saying, outside of the kind of the blue bloods like USC, Michigan, which are the classics, you'll never have to worry about them. But, you're right. Ohio State is surging. Oregon's trying to be on that level. And we're always kind of looked at as little brother a little bit. We're trying to get on that level, trying to sustain it. And I think a guy like Lanning with his message is the right thing to do right now.
But you're not going to know what to do with yourself, Ryan, if Oregon becomes accepted on that level. You're not going to be able to play that underdog card anymore.
No, I'm comfortable with the green jacket on. If you want to be inviting me back to the Masters dinner, that's fine. I'm okay with being a blue blood all of a sudden. That's cool. If you want to invite Oregon in, I'm willing to accept that offer, Mark. I am no problem at all. And to be honest, behind closed doors, we've been saying this. I'm a part of the Oregon Club and all that sort of stuff. We talk with our AD, and Rob Mullen's the guy who really wants to try to get the best out of this university, and he wants the university to be looked at as one of the elite universities in the country. And a lot of the moves that he's made during his time set Oregon up to be able to even be in the Big Ten. When it first went down, when USC and UCLA went, I didn't think Oregon was going to go. I didn't think Oregon was valuable enough. And I thought that Washington would be, because of the academic prowess, the downtown Seattle, all the other sort of stuff, the glitz and glamour that they have. But Oregon's a very small school in a very remote state. It's not necessarily on the same level. Now, it has a good connection with Nike that's very organic, that's not forced, and that's great. It's not going anywhere. Even when Phil passed away, that's still not going anywhere because there's tons of Nike connections with Oregon. But I just think it's a really cool situation that Oregon got accepted to go to the Big Ten. I think it's going to go there. Now we see the merger thing happen with the Big Ten and the SEC, and it feels like Oregon's in a spot where they're going to survive.
The Bo Nix acquisition could not have worked out better. He became a true Duck, just embraced by the fan base, and obviously played his rear end off and was phenomenal. Now he has set a certain standard and became a bit of a hero there in the Northwest. And you bring in Dylan Gabriel, tremendous credentials at Central Florida, had a huge year at Oklahoma. He's put up big numbers. He's going to be one of the most prolific quarterbacks in the history of college football, just based on stats. But are there maybe too many expectations going to be placed on him to maintain that level of play?
It's hard to compare them all. Bo Nix had a great opportunity to come back that second year, and coming back the second year really solidified his kind of place in Oregon history comparatively. You know, Dylan Gabriel's going to have just 1 year. So the best kind of comp you can do with him is kind of a guy like maybe Vernon Adams or something, when Oregon had just a one-off guy. You know he's going to have just the 1 year. Yeah, you're right. Very prolific guy. Could be very good in this offense. But, you know, with Bo, it was a unique sort of situation because there was so much change. There was so much turnover at that point in time that the quarterback coming in it was kind of seamless with all the rest of that change. We'll see how it is now that we're starting this transfer portal time, because the transfer portal at the quarterback is kind of a unique deal. You know, I'm sure you guys have talked about it numerous times where, you know, if you get the guy with 2 years versus the guy with 3 years versus the guy with 1 year, what that does to the rest of the room and how it works with recruiting and everything else. And this year, Oregon kind of pulled off a coup a little bit because they pulled Dante Moore and Dylan Gabriel in the transfer portal, and they got two of the best transfer portal quarterbacks, with the younger one saying he wanted to sit on the bench for a year and develop. So again, I think that's the best of both worlds right now. If you're going through the transfer portal, you better stack up a couple in there, because your quarterback room can get lean pretty quick. And we all know this is a game where you're one play away from having the next guy up.
You're on mute, Tim.
I want to see Dante Moore become a multimillionaire and never throw a pass in college football, and then be the next Matt Castle and go off the NFL. And I want to have a lucrative, career, but I want that guy just to sit back, do some clipboard talk, make millions, and then just and just lap his way to the NFL, because he does have the NFL ability. I'm curious. I'm curious who you think is going to battle for that job. Next year it's gonna be weird to see who comes in, but it could truly happen. If someone comes in, unseats him, he might just be the most well-paid student of all time. So. You're right.
That's a pretty good gig. The backup Q is a pretty sweet gig. Clean jersey every week, and sometimes you got to be. Maybe the headset gets a little uncomfortable sometimes. That's maybe the only thing. But other than that, it's a pretty good gig. I mean, but yeah, you're right. Dante Moore, the best plays he's made so far in his career have been in the All-Star games during his senior year. He did great at that game in San Antonio, and didn't have a great run at UCLA, and the UCLA situation just didn't work out. I don't know what the heck was going on with that defense or the offense last year. The defense was the only thing they were hanging on with, and it was a very strange offense, and he didn't really fit. He wanted to go to Oregon originally. It felt like they just offered him more money at the end of the day, and the classic NIL sort of situation, last-minute flip. And so he comes to Oregon, and I think he's going to be comfortable at Oregon, and yeah, I mean, he might play this year. You never know when it comes to injuries, but you're right. He could find himself in a position where he could get to the NFL and never even play. We had a guy like that at Oregon 1 year where he sat behind Joey Harrington. He started, but he was a year older than Joey. When Joey started, he sat on the bench and still got drafted in the NFL. Didn't even play his senior year.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I mean. I know it's not going to happen. To answer your the Moore question, Dante was kind of forced into a role because they didn't have a quarterback at UCLA. He wasn't ready to be a quarterback at UCLA. He just kind of got thrown out there unfairly to him, because even talented quarterbacks, sometimes they just need that year to catch up to college speed. Right. And I think that's what happened to him. I think he'll be fine in his career. My comment about him not starting is just kind of more of a tongue-in-cheek thing than anything else. And then going back to I always hear they change it every 6 months. Is it Drew Aller or Drew Allar? Which one is it for Penn State? Is Drew Aller?
Drew Aller is what I've heard.
Yeah, I go with Aller. I call him Drew Aller.
Tomato. Okay, wait. That guy,
maybe, yeah.
That guy at Penn State. What people got to realize also is that was his first year start. Again, at every position, usually guys, offensive tackle, cornerback, quarterback, the speed of playing a whole season, you just kind of get in your feel. Some guys are insane. They can just go out there as freshmen and kick ass. But at that jump that they're going to make from that first year, not necessarily freshman to sophomore, but your first starting year to your second starting year is a massive jump. And so I think that you need to get Dante in there and get his feet wet this year, and hopefully the schedule will allow for that.
I completely agree. And I think there's a lot of people who are in these kids' ears when they're in high school, saying that they're going to be the next one, they're going to be the one, they're going to be one, and they want to go to these schools where they can get playing time, when in reality, they look at it like the NFL draft. The guys that go to a team that's already solid, that already has a good offensive line, that has a good quarterback in front of them, those are the guys that have the 20-year, 15-year career. The guys that go to the bad team with a bad offensive line and they get playing time right away, oftentimes they're out of the league in 3 years with a knee injury. And, you look at these guys, in high school, and everybody's the man in high school. Like you said, you go to college, it's another level. And the game happens so fast. There's so much processing for the quarterback. There's so much pressure on the quarterback. And you got to make plays. And if you don't make plays, there's another guy who's trying to do the exact same thing as you're doing right there. And they stack them up in there and they fight the competition. And it's cutthroat. So there's a lot of pressure on these guys. And not everybody's made out to be that guy. And it's easy in high school. You are the man in high school. No one questions you in high school. And then you get to the all-star games, and it's kind of fun because it's an exhibition. Nobody knows anybody. And you sling it around like it's 7-on-7. All of a sudden, you look like you're the man. And people, I've always kind of hit the brakes on recruiting. I've always been a guy that wants the guys to get in. Let's see them in the uniform. Let's see them produce here before I kind of get the judgment call on who they are. And everybody else, I feel like, just loves recruiting so much. Oh, this guy's going to change the game. This guy might not even see the field, buddy. Yeah, he's great in high school. He might not even see the field here. So, or he might transfer out of here. He fall in love with these guys. So, again, I think the quarterback position is such a unique one. The fact that they pulled this thing this year was a complete coup. It's so rare to try to get two guys and have one guy in the transfer portal even be willing to sit. That's such a rarity in general. Most of these transfer quarterbacks are looking for more playing time, not less. So to have a guy who's that talented actually request to be on the bench is quite unreal.
Ryan, since you've got the obvious connection there with UCLA, you're going to play our UCLA resident expert right now because we got nobody else to go to. Obviously, Chip's there, and he's coming into the Big Ten as well. What do you think the deal is with him? He's put 3 decent seasons together, not great seasons. I really thought that the 22 team had a chance to do something really good. They were that close. And now we see he's interviewing for NFL offensive coordinator positions. And we know he hates recruiting. So on top of that, now he's got to recruit transfer portal players and try to recruit his own locker room to keep them home. Is he just kind of filling a spot now?
It feels like it. It feels like he's cashed checks since he left Oregon. I feel like he's been spinning his wheels since he left Oregon. Oregon was the space where he was innovative. He kind of changed the game a little bit. It's funny about Chip. Everybody thought he was such a mad scientist. He just went back into the history books. He pulled out the old Carlisle Indians playbook. He did the stuff Pop Warner was doing, man. He dusted off all those old books, and man, he went to work on that stuff. And they ran the ball in Oregon when Chip was here at Oregon. We were like the second best running team in the country outside of a team that only runs the ball, right? Yeah, I've always had those outliers, but we were like the only normal regular team that was in that list that was just crazy running the ball. And now he's gone to a balance thing. He runs a pro style. His guys underneath center sometimes. I mean, I just don't know. The magic of Chip Kelly quite isn't there. The whole shtick that he had before, it felt like it got burned. He went to the NFL. It didn't work. He learned a bunch of new stuff in the NFL that was basically just standard approach that he already knew anyway. It's not like these guys don't know how to coach football. And he just tried to do it a different way. And now I feel like, yeah, he's just been spinning his wheels. And he's just been collecting checks. And he's not really that into it. He's a funny guy. I mean, I've met him numerous times when he was the coach here. And he seems just very aloof. He's always got the hands kind of crossed. The only guy I can really compare him to is these guys. They're just weirdo coaches like Belichick and stuff. They don't get along with normal people. They don't do the regular stuff normal people do. And he doesn't think the same way. So I'm assuming he wants to go to the NFL and just sit in a room and draw plays up and milk that thing and bounce around there for another 5 or 6 years or whatever. Not need to be a head coach, not need to have the pressure of all that sort of stuff, not carry a record around with him, not have to recruit, not have to glad and shake hands, kiss babies, all that sort of stuff, which he does not like to do, or talk to boosters or alumni. He also does not like to do that. He does not like to work the room at all. So Yeah, I think he's wanted to be in the NFL since he was in the NFL, and he only came back to college because that was the better gig that he was offered. And he's collected millions since he's been at UCLA.
Cool. Ryan, appreciate you being here. Tim, you got anything else for Ryan?
No, that's it. I mean, as far as the Chip for me, it's just I think he was a great innovator. He was out ahead of the curve, and then I just think the game and the rules caught up to him. That's
Totally.
Really. But I mean, one thing you could always rely on for Chip is that no matter what, he was going to game plan. I think the guy is probably one of the best offensive minds, game planning, looking at a defense there is out there. I'm not sure how you could try to be a college. I mean, the sad thing is maybe he should hang on for another 5 years when these guys are all on salary and you don't have to recruit anymore. And it's just about, oh, let me write a check, and we'll get you, and you're drafting people or whatever it's going to be. There's a salary cap or there's collective bargaining, whatever's going to happen to the sport. Then Chip's right there. And then then he'll be coming back. But right now I'm with you. You can't win if you don't recruit.
Yeah, I think he's content. He's getting older. He's got a lot of money in the bank. He's very content. He's just a weird guy. I mean, if you know him and have been around him in any way, shape, or form, you can kind of see his personality is such that he's just going to walk away at some point. People are going to be like, where did he go? Like, you left this? Like, yeah, just on to the next one. But I don't think that's the case for us. I think we got a guy, Dan Lanning, who's young, energetic. This is his first opportunity. Oregon gave him his first shot. I think he's going to be very loyal to Oregon because of that. I think he's going to be a guy to look out for in the future. And I don't think, like you said, I don't think he's going anywhere. That video was the best. He said, if you're worried about your coach leaving, come play for us. That took balls. I'm telling you, that was a ballsy statement, man. So, again, the modern football game has changed. A lot of it's now through social media and what you can do with video and all that sort of stuff. It's very different than Bear Bryant's days, right?
Oregon has a group of probably as far as the staff, one of the best recruiting staffs there is out there. Clearly, your NIL program you guys have going there is not as so well organized. Phil Knight, they're all Nike executive, not executive, but Nike, whatever. They work for Nike at high level, so it's very well organized. It was one of the first hit the ground running. Clearly, your guys' recruiting classes for the past X amount of years has shown that. And so the only thing that's going to slow down Oregon at this point again is if other teams catch up, because they are kind of leading the way. And yet the one thing also is a lot of SC fans are going, oh, okay, wait, hold on. So Florida State and they're going to get Texas A&M, then they're going to get Tennessee. Now they're coming after Oregon. But the thing I'll tell you right now about Oregon, I think they are pushing the boundaries of what you can do, but I think they're smart enough and organized enough that they're not going to do something stupid like Tennessee is saying, oh, well, we'll just sue you in court. Try to come at us.
Yeah, I think, you said about the Nike execs, the big NIL collective is called Division Street for Oregon, and it was set up by ex-Nike execs, guys who had retired and who were Oregon alums in connection with Oregon. And they set it up in a way where they worked directly with the NCAA to make sure the compliance and everything, officers, everything was on board. But yeah, it's set up in a way to be successful and to be successful without drawing a lot of attention or without being the kind of a shady side of it that people don't want. I think that's the problem with NIL is that there's such a negative connotation with it. If you do the wrong way, you're going to get a really bad kind of reputation with it. And I think that can carry a lot of weight. We've seen it with the, Jaden Rashada, let's say. Remember when he went to Florida and then they didn't give him the money or whatever, and then he left and went to Arizona State. Those kind of things I think are going to be more. There are going to be more of those in the future, and you haven't heard any of that stuff with Oregon. All the kids at Oregon have said, and the families at Oregon have all said, it's been very good for us. It's working very well for us. Because again, most of these student athletes that we're talking about, their families do not come from very much. We're talking about serious money for some of these people. Mm-hmm. And it's not like these kids are all driving Ferraris or something. No way, shape, or form. Most of all this stuff is going back home to mom, and it's being doled out that way, or it's being put into bank accounts for them for later on. Yeah, everybody tries to go out and get the chain. Everybody loves to get the chain with the name on it or number or whatever. But after the first couple checks go, it feels like these NIL packages are helping kids out in college when they need it. It's also giving people an opportunity to have money for the first time before they go to the NFL. And that's a big deal. People talk about how the money management is so bad in the pros. Everybody comes out broke. And so this now gives them an opportunity to manage some money before they get into that pro level. And I think it's all positive. I know there's some negative to it, but there already was negative. People were already handing out the bag for years, and it was already shady. So now it feels like it's a little bit more above board, and you can trust it a little bit more. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate y'all. I am always available, Mark. You know me. I'm always down.
If we can count on anybody to put a positive spin on something and still tell the truth and still be real about it, it's Ryan. Sports Chef 503, we get a quick slice from Ryan here, but for the full dose, Sports Chef 503 right here on YouTube. Ryan, you're awesome.
All right.
Thanks for
Appreciate
being
you
here.
guys. We'll see you guys next time. Have a great one.